Howdy ho, folks. It is 9
Alright,
p.m. on
PewDiePie.
Sunday, and it is time for One versus One Me with me, D, and Kicks.
Hello. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Muy caliente. I've been saying that all week. I've made new Spanish friends. So all week I've been you know, the one phrase that I know in Spanish is what I've been saying over and over and over and over again to every new Spanish person I meet, and all the Spanish people that have already met me are like, will you just stop talking? Will you just stop? Be gone. The phrase is "El gato mis los pantalones está en fuego," which means the cat in my pants is on fire.
Your pussy's on fire, in other words.
You know it. How are you, D? How was your birthday? Tell me everything.
Well, no, it was standard birthday for me. Like, I mean, I don't tend to treat birthdays much different than any other day, but it just so happens that it's Tiff's birthday on the same day as mine. So, yeah, she came over. We got stoned, had a drink, and we watched Rock of Ages, one of the few musicals I will ever watch. Yeah.
Cool. Can we see the new resins, the glow in the dark ones yet, or are they still not up and running?
They're over at Tiff. Tiff's got them. They're hers. That was her birthday present from me.
Tiff.
So yeah,
can she leave them? Can she leave them with you next Sunday, just for a little bit, so that we can see them? Or in fact, I don't really care if you guys see them or not. I just want to see them. So Tiff, if you are watching, please can you? I'll text you later, but please can you send me a picture? Because I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll have to go and
I can
see if I have pics. Give me a second. I don't know if I took any or not.
For some context, guys. So D, if you don't know, has started playing about with resin. Oh, well, it doesn't matter now anyway, but I'll tell you. So resin, not as in the drug or the
and Tiff's just messaged, yep, with her laughy face. So
thank you, Tiff. And Tiff bought you them, didn't she? The glow in the dark pigments, or did you buy the glow in the dark pigments?
Yeah, I bought a set and she bought some as well. So yeah, we mixed with both of them.
So yeah, they bought glow in the dark pigments to mix with the resin to make glow in the dark things, and I'm like, oh, I need these. I want it. Give them to me.
Yeah, I will. I will as soon as I get some more resin. I will make some and I'll send you some up.
Motherfucker. Chris says hello. Uno says D and the hot girl.
I might even change that title. I might even change the title of the show
to D and the hot girl.
To D and the hot girl, yeah.
That's just inviting catfishing, you know, like we don't need that. That's some mad click molting everywhere. That's not attractive. That's some clickbait and a half. That is like we're lying to the general populace of YouTube. I'm not. Well, did you just call me clickbait? That's the most horrible thing you've ever said to me. Go make tea. Run out of tea.
No, Chris is
Chris is it would be clickbait. So you had a good birthday then. You enjoyed your time.
I did.
Here on Earth. Because now I'm gonna kill you.
Right.
Okay.
I didn't.
Hi, Cat Science and Maths. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing? How is everyone? What you've all been doing? Talk to me.
Not too sure how much science and maths you're going to get from us. Yeah, we tend to just have opinions here,
nuts.
which doesn't really help science and maths much.
I'm not very good at maths. If I'm honest, I can count. I can do that.
Oh, good.
That's an achievement.
You work in a shop, it fucking helps.
Just, isn't it? But I do like me some science. I believe it or not, despite the fact that I cannot count, I absolutely loved chem, and I love physics because, well, like, do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? makes sense. You just had roast gammon. Actually, Dan had gammon and Freddie had gammon for lunch. Although he wouldn't have known it was gammon. It's just meat to him because he is caveman. And I had vegan sausages off my Pop-Pops at my dad's house. Yeah. Physics is awesome. Yeah, it is. It's good. I like me some physics. Is gammon something British? I'm sure you have pigs in America too, Uno.
It's just a cut of pig, basically. Yeah. I was never a massive fan of gammon, to be fair. I mean,
well, you don't eat pig, do you? So
I don't eat pig anymore. That's yeah. And about the only thing I do miss from that is bacon. Really, I do miss a bacon sandwich.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I don't. I'm not a big fan. So, who saw last night's Grey Area? I'm going to just dive right in there.
I did.
I know you did. Well, you were on the panel with me.
Oh, wasn't I?
I should hope. I should hope that you saw it. Apparently, 2 videos got posted. I was talking to Jed earlier on Vegan Realists show. I was there for like the first 45 minutes or so, and then I had to go do my motherly duties. Sorry, Sasha. Shade. Hello, Jed.
As much as
talk of the devil.
Why should she be shamed for not wanting kids? Like, or why should she be had a go at for shaming for not having kids? If they were having a go at her for shaming them for having kids, if you get me.
It's not that. It's the entitled. No, but it's the entitled. I don't want to do the housework. I don't want to cook because I don't have to. I'm going to hire a maid. That's your prerogative, yes. But in the real world, with the rest of the 95%, we don't have them maids. We have to cook. And it was that a simple question had been asked to her, and instead of her explaining why she doesn't want to do that, she went on the defensive. Like, she already knew that was the wrong way to be. Like, she assumed that people were trolling her when really people were asking her an honest question, like, why not? What's wrong with it? Which to me, if somebody goes on the defensive very quickly, it's usually because they're in the wrong, or because they're very passionate about something. One or the other. But anyway, so I was talking to Jed earlier, and apparently YouTube had posted 2 different videos of the same video last night. So if I ignored any of the chat, like, sorry, I was trying to reply to people as and when I could, mostly to change the subject. But away from Phoebe's horrendous opinions.
His opinions? Do you have to put a negative or positive spin on it?
Yeah, they're horrible. His opinion was horrible. He called all women evil.
Yeah,
and said that I don't unconditionally love my boyfriend.
No, you don't. You know me, I'm just fucking with you. I know what you put up with, that lazy
Do you know what? Devil's advocate. I know. Like, he doesn't do any. He makes tea. No, he's good. He's learning. He's very good. I'm very proud of him. He's doing a good job, aren't you, dear? Yeah. Did I push a button? Maybe. Yeah, no, it really pissed me off. He wouldn't let people finish speaking, and then he told me off for not letting people finish speaking. Yeah, VB thinks women shouldn't be allowed to talk. No, it's not even that. He
Shut
thought
up, women.
that
Women aren't allowed
women
to talk.
shouldn't be taught how to talk.
Yeah. You can't not. See that this is the thing with humans. It would be impossible not to teach somebody to talk. You don't teach somebody to talk. People just learn to talk.
Do it.
From
same as breathing.
Yeah.
Fuck you. So everyone is different. We both do what we're good at. Good on you, Hearn. Jamie's dad was an amazing cook. I can cook, but he was better than me. Chris said that he cooks he just cooked the roast because his missus is crap at cooking. And no, that's fair enough. And that's a difference. That's a difference with, I can't do this, so I'm not as good at it, so I'm not going to do it. And like I've always said, in a modern day relationship, everything is equal. But to straight up be like, I'm not going to cook because just the way she was just made me angry. Like,
I certainly don't agree with modern day relationships being equal. I think that's the death of any relationship, is trying to become equal. You've got to play off each other's strengths and weaknesses. So that it automatically implies to me that it's not an equal stance. And if you did like, I can't see how a relationship based on equality can ever work, because there's always going to be the desire of one or the other that's going to outweigh the other at some point. And if you're not ready to dip, if you're trying to aim for equality all the time, then you're either both always going to lose out, or it's just not going to work.
No, I didn't mean it in that sense. I meant it in the sense of, I do some things, Dan does other things, and like for example, I don't touch the bin because. So
symbiosis, then, like I say, I'm trying to get that word out more, because that's how I think relationships should be, a more symbiotic thing.
Yeah, in unison. Although recently, you know how stressed I was getting with just cooking myself, cooking for the three of us, and cooking fresh dinners as well was the key. Because even with me and Dan, it still takes us close to 2 hours to cook a fresh, nice, good dinner, like a balanced, healthy dinner. But Dan started helping me, especially with like the preparation, and like I'll quickly be like, stir, 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 and he'll like light up, like stir, 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 badly, but and like Dan makes the tea because he's closer to the kettle. By design, it's closer to the kettle, which Dee knows. When Dan moved in, I was like, right, I'm putting Dan on that side so he can be by the kettle, and I'll be like trapped. Like I am trapped in my seat. One day I'll show you when I tidy it. But my seat's just here, and I am trapped by Dan and the table and this chair that I'm sitting on. So yeah, he the
Irish person you hear every so often, that's Dano. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Kelly Osbourne? You kind of sound like her. She's American. No, she's not American. She's got an American twang though now, hasn't she? Because she's been living in the States for so long. I resent that.
She was very posh anyway, wasn't she? Like, so she tried to put on that posh accent, didn't she?
I'd rather sound like Ozzy. But also, they were born in Birmingham, and I'm like right next to Birmingham, so. But I don't really know much about Kelly Osbourne. I know more about Ozzy than Kelly, because she's just the daughter of a rock star. So.
So it's finally popped here, so I can put it up on the screen at last.
Oh, there you go. Look, magic, a magician. But yeah, symbiosis is the best way to, or working in unison is the best way for relationships. There is no way that you could split every single job equally in the household.
Yeah, completely equally, no, and it'd be a waste of time anyway, because if you're doing one job, you may as well do the whole bloody job yourself anyway. Because let's face it, your partner's never going to do it good enough anyway, so.
Maybe. Yeah. But no, the fact that I can't, men are never unconditionally loved.
That is kind of true. I know you may not like, he didn't put it in the best. Chris Rock, like,
I was about to say, the way Chris Rock put it, much better. The way VB put it, not at all, because it's in context. It depends who the woman is. It depends on many things, Go on.
No, it kind of does depend, but on the whole and the vast majority of cases, I would say it is true. Like I'm talking like 95% of the time, you're not finding a man that's unconditionally loved. And maybe that's because I've had some shit times in my past.
But do you not think that you're unconditionally loved by your daughters?
Yeah, I suppose so.
And
I don't know. I really don't know. We've never come across any kind of impasse that would have created the kind of thing that would cause dislike, I suppose.
And
I'm the cool
if
dad,
you had,
unfortunately. Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
if you had a son, would you not unconditionally love that son? Because I unconditionally love my son, as far as I'm aware. Like, I don't think there'd be any reason for me to ever not love my son. I don't think there's anything that my son could do that would make me stop loving him. Like, legit. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
there's
but
anything.
like I say, it's just a tricky subject and not quite as black and white. It is a very grey area subject. Sorry, little plug there.
I do think that I just if
And
Dan lost his job, I just don't think I'd stop loving him. I wouldn't kick him out the house.
like
You know,
to
like
be fair, when I'm talking the 95%, I'm talking in that context of a woman loving a man, not children
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Okay, just to be clear about that. Yeah. When it comes to kids and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's whether you like them or not. I think love is pretty unconditional. So.
Hey Juan, what's going on, man?
Yo, Juan.
What you doing? Juan. I keep spelling his name wrong. Every time I say hi to him in chat, I type it J-A-U instead of J-U-A. Because I'm shit at life. I'm useless. Like the epitome of useless.
Sort your spell check out.
Well, spell check doesn't spell check, Juan. It's not an English word.
Well, no, like on my phone, basically, if I write a word in enough, even if it's spelled incorrectly, it will come up at the top as an option. So when I start typing something, it's pop.
Well, clearly I haven't said hello to Juan often enough.
Juan enough, yeah.
Juan.
Juan.
And what was the other one that really pissed me off that he said last night? Oh, it really pissed me off. Can't remember what it was. I was so triggered last night. I was so what up, no more lies.
Wasn't it when he was laying into you about your ex?
Yeah, that really pissed me off. But that I'm a liar. That he kept saying that I was a liar, and I was like, you don't know me. You don't get to say how I feel.
Yeah, so again, I think he was using liar out of context. I think he self-deceived. I think he was actually intending to mean rather than liar, if you know what I mean. Or not even, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I was, from the context of what he was trying to say, I would say that was more what he was trying to say.
Russian flag.
Self-deceived rather than lying. But go on, sorry.
I just essentially saying that I deserved the way I was treated.
That is not good, Juan. Sorry to hear that. I hope
I hope you're okay.
Yeah, get that sorted.
Keep us updated as best you can, I guess. Let us know how you get on. But yeah, I just the thing is that I got on so well with VB because
you thought he was your friend, look.
Yeah, thought he was my friend. Fucking naive little bitch is what Cakes is. Naive as fuck. But no, I thought we got on really well, and I thought that he wouldn't actually go after me. Do you know what I mean? Because he was personally. I don't want to be all personally attacking me as though I'm a snowflake or something like that. I just. The thing is, Jed, and I've just said the same thing to Dee. Last night's stream, I think, on the whole, was detrimental to you and your channel. I really do. I think that the week before, after rewatching it, it was great. I really enjoyed it with Dee as a co-host, or helping you out, if you whatever you want to call Dee for that week. And the chat that you had on
is what I call myself. But go on.
But I feel that every single week for the past, every time that I've been on your podcast, VB has mentioned his MGTOW, his like anti-feminism, and you guys know I'm not a feminist. I don't like feminism, especially third wave feminism. I like the rights that I have from first wave feminism, and some of them from second, but third wave's bullshit. But what I don't like is that every single week he's brought that up. It's stale. It's boring. We've heard his opinion now. Why is he only talking about this one thing? I get you're not a flat earther and he is a flat earther. So if you were to talk about that, possibly you'd argue and shit would hit the fan. But I just felt like last night he was extremely detrimental. Yes, there were some people who agreed with him, but I don't know if Laurie and Barbie would come on again, because Barbie was so upset. Barbie was on the edge of tears, man. I said in Jamie's chat earlier, I just wanted to reach through the screen and give Barbie a hug, because the way he spoke about Barbie's mom, the way he spoke about Barbie's decisions, everybody makes bad decisions.
Right. What I saw last night, to be candid, I wish VB was here to hear it. But what I saw last night was a fucking butthurt little VB who's been pissed off about the trolling himself and being attempted to be doxxed. And he came back in attack mode to show that he wasn't scared, he wasn't going to bow down. And it just so happened that you guys got it both barrels because he needed to reassert himself.
That's how I felt. That's one of the things that I felt, was that he's been trolled. He couldn't take the trolling. So instead of channeling that energy in a constructive way, he alienated 3 people who are on that show often. I'm just saying how I feel, Jed. Like, I really don't think that it was good for your show last night. I really don't, because so much of your audience is women. Like, I was told that the main
I thought it was
people
brilliant.
in, like,
I did, but go on.
The main people in this truth segment on YouTube is men, but actually the amount of women that's actually in Jed's, I think it's Jed's face, to be honest. The amount of women that's in Jed's chat is insane. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that big boil on his cheek put him off a bit last night, to be fair.
Maybe. I don't think it was. I don't think alienating people who come on your chat often, and we're not trolls. Like, us 3 women on there are never trolls. We're never shit talking. I don't think
you really need to get to know these people, Cakes, before you go talking about them and defending them.
We weren't. No.
Trust
we
me,
weren't
both those girls have been in the shit. Like,
were they shit talking on Jed's last night?
No, they weren't. But...
Were they causing trouble and trolling Jed personally? Are they friends with Jed? Do they always have Jed's back, in especially recent months? Yes, because I've seen it. So then allowing the people that are Jed's viewers to be alienated by VB and not having anyone's back did not make for a good time. It just didn't. Like, honestly, the amount of times that I phoned D last night after, and I was like, the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck? And I says, like, the amount of times that I went to just hit the leave button, and I was like, no, don't be that snowflake, because I'm not. You guys know that I'm pretty fucking thick-skinned, and I don't usually give a fuck what you people say. And VB is just a random person on the internet, but his views are just so.
Well, he's not, because you thought he was your mate. This is the thing.
But that is the other thing. I didn't expect VB to lay into me the way that he did, and I think that's why I'm annoyed. Thanks, babe. I think that's why I'm annoyed. But that's also
quite naive of you as well, to believe that somebody you've known for a few weeks on the internet is your mate, not being funny.
No, of course it is, but also all of my friendships are predominantly online based, and I form connections with them. So I was really taken aback, and I was really shocked, because there's one thing for us to have disagreements, but the way he was actually being was condescending, rude, spiteful, horrible. He was just a fucking dick last night. He really was horrible, and he really pissed me off. No more lies.
I think that was the VB Jed thought you was going to see the first time he introduced you to VB, if you know what I mean. Yeah?
When we were talking about transgender.
So when you didn't get that, yeah, I think it put you at ease. If you know what I mean. And yeah, you weren't ready for
No, I wasn't. I wasn't ready for it at all.
check in the description, and there is a link to VB's channel in the description to this right now. There's
and if you want to see the video from last night, it's on Jed's, and Jed's is 2 comments above yours. So just click on Jed's. It's last night's grey area. And to sum up, to answer to Jed's initial question was that I'm no longer a fan of VB. No, I am. I do still like him. I was just really pissed off, and I think he was a massive dick last night. He does still have some interesting views.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next grey area because I want to jump on so we can have that discussion about the whole Star Wars relating to women and stuff as well.
I have no interest in Star Wars, so I, you know, I feel like a lot of his conversational topics have got stale. I feel like he needs to stop with the women thing, and he needs to stop being so butthurt about women. I've done nothing wrong to him, you know. Star Wars is gay.
Well, let me guess that, yeah, Chris, of course, every time. He tries to get a rise out of me from it. I mean, it used to, but
Chris is supposed to
he's done it too much now.
Chris is supposed to be coming on to push my buttons. That's what Chris said earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Chris was going to come in and push my buttons as well, trigger me again. I'm prepared for it now, though. Yeah, I don't think I'll get triggered. I hope.
But, well, I mean, yeah. If you want to finish your rant about VB, then, and I'll put the link out.
Yeah, that's it. That is my entire rant. It's taken 26 minutes, but that is my entire rant.
Right. So VB, right? That's the first topic. There you go on the list.
And yeah, VB is validation boy.
Yes, sorry, that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah,
he's called it Validation Boy. That's his YouTube channel. Yeah, he's like I say, the link is in the description, along to Jed as well, who hosts the Grey Area, which is the show we are talking about. So you can get all that in the description.
You get. Are you dropping that their link?
And to be fair, I've got
with his lightsaber, Chris.
I'm kind of.
He won't. He's got broken back.
Like a lot of this Star Wars lately is getting that kind of. I know what he's generally having a general go at the whole of Star Wars, but for me, I'll accept since Disney took over, I'll accept that statement from Chris. Even as a Star Wars fan, it's certainly not what it should be, but you've got to take it for what it is as a Star Wars fan, and I am so.
Do you think it will have more satanic, mind-controlling, subliminal messages now that it's been taken over by Disney? Have you noticed
it has. It already has. It's pushing the transgender agenda and all sorts with the new Solo movie. The female role is now the main role. It's like, I mean, it's Rey. This pathetic little girl who suddenly magically manages to teach herself the fucking Force with no guide or anything like that. So whereas Luke needed a guide and all this kind of stuff, like the man needed all this extra help to get to where he got, and this woman just magically manages to do it all by herself. And yeah, so they're already pushing a messed up agenda with it. So. Sorry, I got carried away with my beard.
Really? Go chopper beard, not chopper beard, but chopper beard. And hey, Mick, I did wave at you. Don't know if you saw. Have we said hello to Jamie? I'm not sure. Hi, Jamie. You're always here. Do you need a hello?
It's hard sometimes to keep up. Yeah, because sometimes you're talking and I don't want to say hello to people and mess up your flow.
I just wave.
So yeah, hello to everyone.
What is happening? I've asked you that, but we'll ask you again. What's going on? What she's doing? You still haven't posted the link. You are shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, Miss Fire, how's it going? Just joined us, right? Yeah, let me pop that in now.
Right, Miss Fire, what's going on? How you doing? What's happening with everyone? Bab, you're right, Bab. Who's the well-spoken girl? James last night. The well-spoken girl. It's me. I hit that link if you want to come and chat with us. Chris, if you want to try and roast me or whatever. Miss Fire, if you don't want to show us even your hand, that's fine.
it was funny for me last night because I can understand, like I say, most of my family on my mum's side are Scousers, so I understand Scouse. If you get me, it's just natural for me to hear it, I suppose, like talking to relatives and stuff. But yeah, I can kind of understand why the Americans, especially, just cannot understand a word because it is just one of those accents that.
And Jed was bang on when he was saying that all of these accents need to stay. Like, we don't all want to sound the same. Having our regional accents is great. Like, I absolutely love it. Knowing where somebody comes from just from them saying words and you can pinpoint the exact location is pretty fun. You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it'd be fun actually to if I hadn't already told everyone where I was actually from and stuff, if they could guess, and because I don't really know what my accent sounds like. I've been told I've got quite a neutral accent.
Yeah,
so,
you do.
Yeah.
It's not. Can you two sound American?
Can I sound American? Not really, unless I really accentuate.
I can't. Oh my God. That's like the only phrase I could do in American. Oh my God, I can't believe you've done that. Bitch, please. Listen to me. I could do a Welsh accent.
So you could do the stereotypical black woman accent.
Oh, I was going for like a spoiled white girl. I was going for me if I was American. Oh my God. Good, thanks, miss. Enjoying a nice weekend off. Hope you are blessed. That's cute. That's nice. Yeah, that's cute. But no,
the link just went into the chat, by the way, guys. That's the link to join us if you want to.
If you don't want to, that's also fine. But yeah, I could do a Welsh
No, it's not. You should want to. You should bloody want to. You should have a need to have your opinion heard and your voice resonate throughout the realm.
The realm.
What's wrong with you people?
The realm.
To sit there meek as mice. Come on. No. You do you, and we do us.
I'm not doing you.
You know what I meant. You have to make everything sexual. God's sake, what is wrong with today's society? God.
Nothing. It's fantastic. Nothing's going wrong at all.
One off as well, saying I fancy you all the time.
Was it Juan that said that?
Yeah, it was Juan that said.
It was Juan. Juan, you were wrong. Juan. 1, 2, 3, 4. Such a child. I am such a child. So I also was gonna. I wanted people's opinions on polyamorous relationships, which, funnily enough, what's his name? P. Mars.
How do you spell polyamorous? Fucking hell, I'm writing this down with pen and paper here, not spell checker.
Polyamorous.
Actually, that works. Yeah.
We were saying it before. I'm tangenting for 1 second. So my son, we were talking about spelling earlier, and that I've always used boys eating custard are usually sloppy eaters to remember how to spell, because when I was little, obviously not now, I'm not a cabbage. And he said big elephants should always understand small elephants. No, big elephants can always understand small elephants. And then I was like, and how do you remember how to spell beautiful? And my boy just goes, B-E-A, beautiful. And I was just like, oh, I love my son. He's so funny. He remembers the things. And I've forgotten what. Oh, yeah. So polyamorous relationships, right? So me and P Mars both, I was about to call him PB. That's not right. That's peanut butter. Or porn bomb. Me and P Mars had both watched the same video, because he mentioned it last night and I was going to mention it today. I wasn't going to mention it last night, because when I talk about things when I'm on J area, fuck me, grey area, I can't. I just
words are hard.
Words don't make sense and help. I've lost my chain of thought.
Polyamorous things, P Mars and you see in the same video.
Right. When I talk about things on grey area, I don't want to talk about them on here because I've just talked about it the night before, and Dee's the same. We've had this. I think we've had the same, feelings. So anyway, polyamorous relationships, for those of you who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, is where either a man is where people are with multiple partners. So that could mean a man's got 2 women, a man's got a man and a woman's got a man and you get what I'm saying. You're not cabbages.
Yeah. I'm not quite that old school.
No. So there was this woman who's 23 and she's got 4 male partners, like an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, 27-year-old, and like a 21-year-old, something like that. Quite a wide spread of ages. And she's fell pregnant with one of her newer partners, and all 4 of the men are going to raise the baby. It raises a few questions. Firstly, how do you guys feel? Essentially, that is my first question is, what do you guys think? Is monogamy necessarily important? Should everybody be monogamous? Where have we had these strict monogamous ideas? To me, the concept of 4 men raising 1 baby with a woman is weird, but there are tribes out there who do that. There are a lot of cultures where you live in a commune of people and you all get on together and you all raise each other's children. One from each age range. Get in. She is a man collector, ? I think that's stupid. A lot of jealousy and drama is going to happen. Watch. So now I also saw a video of I was watching these vampires. After I'd seen this video of this woman, I was like, right, let's see some more polyamorous relationships. How do these work? I like me some research. So to YouTube, and I typed in polyamorous relationships.
I think my ex used to actually watch a series like where reality series where they followed polygamous couples and stuff. Most of them were like Mormon and stuff like that. So it's like part of their religion and shit. But sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you grabbed. So there was these 3 vampires, and it was a man and 2 women, and the 2 women were the man was what's that stupid phrase that I don't like? Pansexual. The man was pansexual, and the women
shag anything. Yeah.
Just, is bi not enough? Does that not make? Why not just use bi? Like, we'll come on to pansexual.
Why not just stick to a man and a woman?
And they had been together for 2-3 years, but there wasn't a child involved. For me, that's if you guys want to do you behind closed doors, that's fine. But if you bring a child into that, is the child going to be confused? How's the child going to be raised? I mean, logically, they'd have quite a bit of money if all 5 of them were working. Life goals.
You'd imagine so.
You'd imagine so. Chat's going very quick. Hang on, slow down. It's messed up and confusing situation. Oh, hey, Barbie. Blended's here. Hi, Blended. What's going on? It's messed up and confusing situation and has the potential to go tits up. Easy for her to say now, all 4, you can do it. In reality, I don't think all 4 men will want to commit to that. Exactly. She's only pregnant. We don't know how that's going, it's messed up. Will go sour in the end. I think people should be allowed to do what they want when it comes to monogamy and polygamy. Cakes, be careful with them vapes. A lot of people have been dying from this shit. No, they haven't. Be quiet. Hey, vegan. Hi, Jamie. Hope you're well. They haven't. It has been announced that it was from an illegal cannabis vape. Mine hasn't got cannabis inside it. It is a regulated vape, so I'm not dead right now. Fight me. Jeremy Kyle episode in the making. 100% Chris. That's what I mean. I don't necessarily think it could be a bad thing with 3 people. I don't think that. I don't think that. I don't think that will end up as sour as putting 4 people in. How's child support going to work? You know.
Well, again, it doesn't matter because legally, the guy whose sperm produced that child, so whose DNA is linked to that child, will ultimately end up paying the DNA if something goes tits up, unless they have, one of those breakups where they kind of just go their separate ways and they all think, fuck it, we'll just chip in, why not? Just because they're that type of people. But legally speaking, no, it'd be the father of the child. So
yeah, but there's always the whole this child's got attached to this person and now this person is leaving. But that happens a lot with broken families and step parents. That is a fact of life now, that we have little to no family values. So I just 5 people, that's a lot of people. And jealousy, jealousy.
Again, from a personal point of view, there's no way I could put up with 2 fucking women, let alone 3, 4, or fucking 5. Like, I mean,
right?
No,
you can just about deal with me for 2 hours on a Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, but again, I'm kind of with Jamie, each to their own in a way, but
is it each to their own when a child's involved?
It can't be mentally healthy for the kids because they're going to grow up thinking that's normal. When they go into a world where it's not normal, are they even going to go into a world where it's not normal? Are they going to keep them segregated away because they're living outside the norm? I mean, you just don't know. I don't know how it all works. I don't know how it's going to work. I think it should be a man and a woman. If you want like getting married and settling down, having a family, man and woman. Anything else, right? I mean, it's just no need to fucking even talk about it because it's such a minority. It doesn't even fucking matter anyway.
Well, no, of course it is a minority, but would that child grow up to think that it's okay to have more than one partner and not quite understand the trust levels and the communication levels and then be off cheating left, right, and centre? Because I know that I know that me and you have mentioned monogamy before, and that humans may or may not be destined to be monogamous.
Yeah. So
But does monogamy mean living in a polyamorous relationship? Sorry, does not following monogamy mean living in a polyamorous relationship, or does that mean being in an open relationship? What do you think would be better? Because
for me, like I say, if your aim is to settle down and have a family, make it a man and a woman. Simple as that. If your aim is to just have many sexual partners, have an open relationship, or don't have relationships, just sleep with lots of fucking different women. Like, I mean, or if you're a woman, going around and be a slag. Like, I mean, and I know it's a bit more detrimental when you say that about a woman, but there's that ancient Chinese proverb, isn't there? A key that can open many locks is a master key, but a lock that can be opened by many keys is just a shitty lock. So
yeah,
for me, like I say, I'm a little bit more old school. I mean, I think women should keep their legs closed unless it's for someone special, if you know what I mean. And I've not pushed that thing on my daughters, if you know what I mean. I'm not like I say, I'm the cool dad, whatever, kind of do what you want, you just come to me if you need me, kind of thing. But yeah, I'd rather they were a bit more respectful of their bodies and stuff. So.
Oh, Barbie.
Oh, go on,
Girl.
what is it?
When
There
children
we go. Yeah, it's
when
just popped
children
up.
are present, people should have a moral compass. Maybe the question should be, is it moral? Depends on if you think being not monogamous is unmoral. I personally
Well, then you're talking ethics. I think, like I said, I was having this kind of discussion with Vegan Realist a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, and for me, morals are more objective, and ethics are the more subjective take on that, more on that objectivity. And again, we don't have the information to really have a proper thought on that because we don't know how humans are supposed to live, because we live in this broken, well, not even broken society. Society works how it's supposed to, but it's wrong. There are a few little tweaks we need to get more self-responsible people that follow that moral compass. Right? I mean,
yeah.
we've all got it. We all know when we're doing right and we're doing wrong. It's like we're like a lot of women who you hear who do sleep around. They'll be like, "Oh, you can't call me a slag. I can go and do it just like." But you just know that those women are regretting having slept around. Like you can hear
It's that
it in
whole
their
being
voice.
self-defensive and jump into the defensive immediately.
Yeah, like
Jamie, that's me. I'm using Dan's typity type. I'm using Dan's laptop and I'm too lazy to try and sign into 2 different accounts at the same time. So if you see that, that's because it's me and I've forgotten that I'm typing on Dan's account. So that, yeah, don't follow this account. There's nothing on there. Like, you'd be bored. And I think the question that should be added to Barbie's question is it child abuse? It would be morally wrong because you could be succumbing. These children could be like. Finish sentence, please. We know internally what's right and what's wrong. That should be enough for us to understand to some extent how to live. And exactly, and this kind of leads back to a few weeks ago, or I don't know if we actually live streamed about this, but
hey,
lawful
Madam,
and legal. And hey, madam, yeah, I just saw you pop up. But lawful and legal, because moral and ethics is more the lawful. You can't see my hand gestures. There we go.
Yeah, no, it really is. No, you've got that kind of spot on analogy, really. Like, yeah, the legal and lawful would be a very good metaphor for the moral and ethical. And,
definitely.
Yeah, the lawful stuff tends to follow the morals, and the legality just messes with your ethics. So
yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
Are these children being mentally abused because that's how they're being raised? They're not being raised within the norm. But then that also begs the question, is any children being raised outside? Thank you. I've got cup in hand and hand gesture. So you do the things for me. So any children that are raised outside of the norm, outside of the T, are they also being mentally abused? You know? Where do we draw a line?
Again, because we don't know the answer. So again, we'd have to follow our morals on this subject. Morally speaking, I would say, like I say, it's morally wrong. It's going to mess up a child. It really is, because, and again, whether I agree with normal or not, you've got to, we're bringing up people to function in a society. Like,
yeah.
And I'd hate to live in a society where kids don't know who their real dad is because the parents want to hide it, so that they treat all their dads the same or all their mums the same and that kind of thing. And I think it would break the bond between parent and child as well. And maybe it could be another way of that's just another form of attack.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, just imagine this: like adopted kids who are brought up not knowing they've been adopted. They're told in adult life that they're adopted. Just imagine how much that messes them up. Like, I mean, can you imagine growing up in life? Like, and you get to an age where you start asking the questions about your parents and stuff, and you're like, who is my actual dad? Like, I mean, it's going to happen like early teens, you'd imagine, like when they're out, because when their friends are really starting to question it as well and stuff. And again, so what you're going to do, you can keep self-segregated.
I was about to ask Barbie, because Barbie said last night that she was adopted. So yes, I lived that life. And how I mean, you don't have to answer, obviously it's up to you, but how
Well,
did
I was gonna put the link in the chat again for anybody who wants to join and have their say.
I want to see Barbie's dog. Bring me the dog.
Yeah, this link going in chat now
the dog.
Is to get in here if you want to have your say, guys. So click that link.
Because
we'll make you famous.
I have yeah. I haven't told Fred because his dad has no interest. So the question for me has always been, should I tell him now that his dad has no interest and get that over and done with, but make him upset and feel like all of my friends have got dads who care and my dad doesn't? Or should I just continue with how he is, not really asking any questions? And then when he does seriously start asking questions, because obviously he knows Dan isn't his dad. He's not stupid. He doesn't call Dan dad. He calls Dan or egg or cabbage. Huh?
They called me his dad at school.
Oh, well, yeah, because it feels better to his friends, but he doesn't run up to you and be like, Dad. Oh, the teacher. Oh, well, I did. Okay. Well, they know you're not. That's weird. But okay, all right then.
Well, nowadays, to be fair, nowadays, lots of these single mothers, as soon as they get a new boyfriend, they're getting their kids to call them dad. So I wouldn't be surprised if teachers saying that, because it's the norm, because that's what all the other kids are doing, calling these new people in their lives their dad or their mum. Like, so
which that's not okay. But if Fred wanted to, I wouldn't have an issue, because he doesn't actually have one. You know, like with Trig, let's say with Trig, you guys you've heard me talking about Trig, but you don't know him. Trig's got a daughter, and Trig is a very involved parent. Him and his ex-missus have split up, and she now has a new partner. Now, he would be heartbroken if his daughter started calling this man dad. And I don't think that's right, because she has a dad, you know. But in situations like mine, where there isn't one, if Freddie felt like that's what he needed to feel better, that wouldn't bother me, because I don't think he's hurting anybody. He knows that he's not Dan's biological son, but if he was to call him that, you know.
See, it would take a lot more effort on Dano's part, if you know what I mean, to earn that title, if you get me.
Yeah,
see, that's the thing. I think that like it's not. It's like, right. I mean, my kids both pretty much grown up. Like I say, my youngest will be 18 in March. So for all intents and purposes, she's an adult. And like I say, because I split up with my ex a few years ago, and she's remarried now, and so they've got a new stepdad. So, and if they started calling him dad, I got to say, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest, personally. I never even would have thought of it. I mean, as long as they're still calling me dad, if you know what I mean, as well, it wouldn't bother me. I could share that title, because he's taken him on. He does a really good job. Like, I mean, he's a decent bloke to him. So,
and that's what I mean. But for Trig, I think because his daughter's so young, it's a bit different, and he might feel like he's being undermined or overshadowed by the new guy. Like, I could understand why he would feel upset, especially if that was being forced on his daughter as well, because I think that would be wrong. If Dan was like, went up to Fred and was like, call me dad now, I'd be like, no, that's not your choice, that's Freddie's choice, and you and Freddie need to have. If that was to happen, then Freddie would need to have a chat with Dan, and they'd both need to be okay with it. But I know Dan would obviously never do that, because he's not that kind of person. But yeah, so my question is, should people who are in my situation be waiting to explain. Because I feel like Freddie's too young to grasp the concept of being unwanted. And to be succumb to that.
Never underestimate a child's understanding of a situation.
Maybe understanding was the wrong way to phrase it, but I just don't want him to be pushed into this cruel world at such a young age.
See,
I don't want him to
depend
feel
on the
feeling
language
of
you
unwanted.
use when talking about it. If you use the word unwanted, then he's going to feel unwanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if I use it, if I say it in any other way, I would be lying or hiding the truth, and that's not okay.
If you have, I mean, see, I don't know. See, I've never been in this situation, so it'd be hard for me to even know how I'd react, if you know what I mean.
No, but this is open discussion time. I just thrown you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, no, it is, because it's hard. This is something that would take a lot of thought, and not having to be in that situation myself, I'm not sure whether I want to dedicate my brain to that much thought power. But
sorry, brain, you're not allowed to think today.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, for a start, I mean, if he's not talking about it now, that presumes that he's going to be older and more able to comprehend the kind of language you're going to be using when he is ready to talk about it. So maybe you're overthinking a problem that isn't a problem yet.
Definitely. No, well, it was more of a throwing out there. In relating context to the. But do you know how he thinks he came about? It's adorable. It made me cry when he told me. I was like, "Oh, babe, you're so cute." So he thinks, right? This is my 6-year-old. When he was about 4, and he still believes this, and he still says it every now and then. But when he was about 4, he turned around and he said to me, "Mum, I know why I don't have a dad." So, oh God! In my brain just exploded, and I was already emotional. And I was like, "Oh, this is not a conversation I'm ready for." He's like, "It's because the aliens looked down at you and saw that you were lonely, so gave me to you, put me in your belly because you were lonely." Virgin conception, everyone.
What shit are you letting him watch on TV? Fuck's sake, to come up with that fucking hypothesis. Come on. 4 years old, talking about fucking aliens. And
that's what he thinks. Christ, at least the aliens gave me
to watch Dumbo. It could have been a stork, for God's sake.
I'm lonely. Fuck the stork. The stork sent him to a circus. The stork's a cunt. Stork made him have a very horrible upbringing. Made him lose his mother.
Put him in the exact situation he needed in order to grow into the self-responsible elephant he became.
Yeah, they're getting very, very drunk with a mouse elephant. It was great.
That was in the growing stage, you see. So he's allowed to have mistakes then.
He's allowed to fuck up. Bad Dumbo.
And that wasn't drinking anyway. That was a fucking acid trip, and everyone knows it.
Oh.
We have 2 people. We have Mick and we have Barbie joining us at the same time.
Oh, friends. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello, Barbie. Hello, Mick.
How are you
Welcome
doing?
to OneVsOneMe.
Sorry, Tom.
Dad. Oh, Mick, you're so far away.
Come on, Mick. You should know by now. You need to get closer to the mic, or you need to buy a bloody headset.
Come on, you. Forward. A little bit better. Not really. You still sound like you're underwater in the ocean, but I'm sure we'll do. How you doing, Barbie? What's going on? Where's the dog? Oh, he's so cute. Look at him.
This is Lewis.
Hello, Lewis. Lewis. Oh, my cat looked at me.
I have 3 actually. I have a Rotsky and him and a pit bull.
Oh, I love pit bulls. They're so pretty.
But we gave the pit bull to my daughter because he's such a nice dog and he's good to her little man, you know. But this guy here is old. He's getting old. And
how old is he?
12.
12. Yeah, that is quite old for a dog. My cats are 15, 14, and 10. There's 4 of them. There's twin girls. It's one of them's there. I don't know if I can get her to come over. Chewy, come on, come. Oi, cat. Come to your master. No, she doesn't want to. She definitely doesn't want to. How are you doing anyway after yesterday?
Oh, I'm all right. I mean, there's no hard feelings with me. In fact, after I thought about it later, I figured he came in there ready to trigger me. Because as soon as I left, he was done with the discussion.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I have no hard feelings for him. It's just like the stupidity that comes out of people's mouths sometimes is blah, 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 blah. And I'm not even sure he actually believes the absolute shite that he's saying. Because I've known him for quite a long time, and I'm pretty aware of a lot of his views. In fact, he kept saying last night that there were so many things that him and I agreed on. And I was like, yes. But right now you're being a total extremist. So I don't think he's that guy. I do think that he likes to poke people, and get them going. And he poked me and got me going. So
yeah. Well, you said yourself in the chat afterwards, you realised he'd got you exactly where he wanted to get you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's totally fine. I mean, I knew I was being got when it happened, but at the same time, I wanted to spank him a little bit if I could.
I was the same. I knew he was trying to wind me up, but there was a part of me that couldn't stop feeding it. And I said a few times, I know I'm feeding this.
Yeah.
But I have to understand how you are getting, what the thought process is from here to over here. Like, I had to understand that. And every time he spoke, it just made me more and more angry. And I just wanted to give his head a wobble, Well, I just wanted to stick rain kisses on top of him.
Yeah. No.
Shut him up.
Yeah. But no, like I say, for me, he really just came back last night to reassert himself, if you know what I mean, after being a little bit butthurt about being doxxed or attempted to be doxxed and stuff, and maybe him thinking that people were thinking he's a bit weak, having taken a step back and all this kind of thing. And I think he just came back with a vengeance last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. And like I said, I've known him for a good while. So, I mean, he knows the few little things that will get me going. Because I've had people over since 2012 when I had a channel. And you wouldn't believe some of the stuff people said to me. But I've always try better. However, we all have certain little things. And, I think this humanity and questioning people's humanity and decency, and even then separating it into you're a guy, you're a girl, that's a thing for me. And he knows that. But it was still fun. I felt relieved when I was done. I was like, well, I won't beat anyone up this week. It's,
P-Mars says hey, and women hate him.
Oh, yo,
Chris, Chris replied with totally understandable, P. And hey, P, I don't hate
How does
you.
he know? How would you know women hate you, mate? You never get out your fucking room to meet any.
He's just got that fake bicycle. Pardon?
I like P-Mars. Him and I have even had a little tiny run-in where he was saying some mean stuff to me. But again, is how personal do you want to take shit? I mean, because when I walk away from this computer, you aren't in my life. You're not affecting my family directly, or putting food in my mouth, or walking my dog. So how personal do you really want to take it? I'm just kind of I was surprised at him, but I was more so surprised at Sasha 2 weeks prior to that. So I already
Yeah.
had that experience.
We
on my
mentioned Slasher at the beginning of this video as well, because Nelly.
You just wish you'd met her, don't you? You wish
I
you'd been
really
on
do.
that
I
show.
wish I was on. I wish I was on that channel on that night. I wish I was there.
I couldn't join that night because once I realized that what's the word I want to use, kindly, because I don't like to talk behind people's back. I don't mind if they can respond to me, but when they're somewhere else and they can't. But I'm just going to say it. I was listening to this stupidity fly out of her mouth. And I thought, I want to join. And then I thought, no. So I kept going like this the whole time because I didn't know what to do. But I was pretty surprised because, again, I knew her for some years now, too. And I know she has some ways about her, but those ways really don't bother me. But when you try to place yourself here and place other people here, and I'm smarter than you are, and if you vacuum a floor by cracky, you just a maid, and I choose not to be a maid, and I was like, wait a minute, what world do you live in?
And she just. What I was about to say when you just said you don't like to talk about people's backs. This is on the internet. You're not. She can view this video. She can respond if she wants to. We're not going to delete it because you say something. Fuck off. Not you, him, Dan. Was that way. Yeah. I don't think you can ever say something behind somebody's back on them internets. But so after seeing her on Grey Area, I went and had a look at her actual channel, and fuck me, she took longer than I do to convey a point, and that's what made me angry, was that she acts as though she's very, very clever, but I couldn't actually find the point that she was trying to fucking make. She was just taking 4 years to express her opinion, and I was like, what can I do with this information? I can't turn this into usable information. You are a flat earth fucking YouTuber. You're supposed to be convincing me why the earth is flat, not boring me to death with your fucking tits.
Well, when you're trying to make points like that, how can you actually convey them properly? And it's like, it's just a big reach around, and that's all Flat Earth ever was. I mean, because at one time I made Flat Earth videos myself, let me just say. I'm not sure I thought the world was flat, but I definitely thought and still think to some extent things are not exactly as they seem.
Or as we're told to believe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of fell into the Flat Earth niche because there were people like-minded in that area where you don't find it a whole lot. So, but there's a lot of stupidity involved in many of the Flat Earth people. And here is a woman who claims she's a fucking genius. I'm smarter than you are. But you're sitting there fucking talking about the earth is flat, there's no space, with twinkle bells and bullshit flying all over your bedroom. And then you continue after that to go on someone else's forum that she's very aware of. She knows how Jed operates, just as I do. And then start talking about females and I'm prettier than you and I'm smarter and unbelievable. So it tells me there's deeper issues with her than I ever imagined. And I always kind of liked her, to be honest. I'm not saying I don't
still
like
do. Like, I mean, I know I'm laughing at all this stuff and that, but yeah, no, I'm still a fan myself. Like, and it could be because I'm just a shallow male, but I mean, it doesn't matter.
Possibly.
Like, I mean, no, I don't think it's that. I think she's genuinely. She's not genuinely the persona that she presents to people on the internet. However, I do think she's generally a nice girl. I could be wrong. You know, she might get out there and behave like a complete nightmare. However, I doubt it. I think she's probably a decent enough girl. But she showed her colors, and then she turned around and said people were attacking her and trolling her. And
you weren't at all. Like, you were asking questions. The way I read your tone before I'd even spoke to you and met you, I was reading your tone as genuine questions until she started to be a little bitch. That's how I read it. Your last 2, maybe 3 comments were catty, but that she fucking deserved it. She 100% fucking deserved it. She then verbally attacked you, and I was like, whoa. But Madame Medusa has just put, Cakes, watch the one she did with Anton. It's a great hangout. And I did. I did watch it, and I messaged Dee straight after I'd messaged. Well, I didn't watch all of it because honestly I was bored shitless. But I said that Anton sounds like the cross between an old-time news reporter, Boris Johnson, and a chickmunk. Like, what? Where is the sex appeal that everybody said that there was supposed to be? Like, what the fuck? Like, he.
Hey? I've never heard Antonio be described as a sex icon of any sort.
That's what it was saying in. If you read the comments on that video, it looks like there's many people who want to ride women who want to ride Antonio. Apparently, that's what I was.
Sasha, well, sorry, I'm responding to P. Mars here. Antonio wants to get with Sasha. He's saying, well, from all accounts, Sasha was saying on the grey area she went over and got with Antonio. That's what I took from what she said about it. Anyway,
that's how I felt that it was implied, because she was all very, very nervous about meeting Antonio because she doesn't look how she looks in real life and all this, and she was worried about telling him. Sasha is the most annoying thing on the internet. I have to agree. Everything is so fake. She's one of the most fake people. Like, she's faker than the fucking beauty euros that are out there doing all their fucking with their lip injections. She's faker than that. Like, her entire it is a persona. She's not herself, yet she tries to pretend that she is herself, and she's not. Any woman can see that she's not being herself. I'd like to think any woman can see that.
I'm not sure that she tries to pretend, because her name, my son-in-law brought up a good point about her name. Her name is actually telling you that she is putting on a show of someone else that she is not. So I don't feel like she's like coming across and saying, hi, this is who I am, except when she blathers on about Mensa and, her freaking intelligence. I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I think she is acting, and we know she is acting. However, when she was on 2 weeks ago with Jad, the act dropped. She was showing her real self.
I mean, Dee said
that's exactly what I say. When she actually gets into a conversation, that it drops and you get the real Sasha. So yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. It's spot on. Oh, we've got P. Mars here, have we?
Oh, hey, P.
A shaved P. Mars.
Hello.
Oh, wow. No, bring it back. I don't like it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, P. Mars, you look 13 years old now, mate. Oh my God.
I gotta look on the other monitor because your face is bigger. Oh no, P, I preferred
You're not old enough to be on YouTube, P. You're not old enough to be on YouTube. This is not for kids, mate.
And no, Madame, 100%. If she can get on, she can come and defend herself. I have invited her on in the comments on the stream with Jed. I did say she was more than welcome to come on. And that's the thing is that I'm sure she is nice in real life, but the persona that she puts on the internet drives me insane. It makes me very, very angry, because she's there in princess dresses when in reality she's trying to put across a very serious point, whether you believe flat earth or not. She is trying to put across a serious point that we're being deceived by the government and we're being deceived by all these people. And the way that she she makes more of a laughing stock of the flat earth movement, flat earth group of you all than any of the other YouTubers that I've seen. And since being friends with Dee and doing this, I have looked at a few YouTubers. The names slipped my brain, but I have looked at them to see what this is all about and to see if you can change my mind. And you know, but she just is laughable, the persona that she gives. But then when she was on Jed's at the very beginning of Jed's, she seemed like a perfectly normal human being, and I respected that until she started complaining.
Well, I mean, there are some people within all these movements, which if you're following a movement or in a movement and on social network, you got to know that that movement was created. It didn't just pop out of thin air. Someone didn't grab it out of their ass and say, "Here it is."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe in like all these shill. I think that's a highly overused word. However, I do believe that there are people probably out there to move that movement in certain directions. And I feel pretty sure she's one of them. I mean, how she's talking about going to meet Antonio, and this is a guy that Patricia's been with. And her and Patricia were friends. And her and Patricia and Mark were friends. And her and Mark and some other gal were friends in a motel room. And it just, the madness never ends.
Yeah,
And-
Mark slept with Patricia, and then Patricia slept with Antonio. And it's like, it's just like some weird Hollywood sex orgy shit is going on behind the scenes with these fake internet personalities, because they're really like actors who failed and they couldn't make it, and so they go to YouTube, and all through all these like movements and groups, they're all controlled. The leaders are all put in place by the elite, and they indoctrinate us through the education system to seek out a leader, to seek out an authority figure, and then they provide them for us. So
he's 100% correct. I mean, Jed used to talk about it more until finally I think Jed was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore. But there's some wacky stuff going on with these folks. Drinking urine, put it in your eyes, put it in your ears. They're all sleeping together.
So there, before in like 2007, I was a part of an internet community. It was Oracle Broadcasting, and it was like, 9/11. Flat Earth wasn't a thing back then. It was like a 9/11 Truth, a lot of stuff, Patriot Radio, and then some new age, like occult vibrations, energy type shows. And the same, something similar was going on. It's like the whole people running that, it was fishy. I heard they all got together for like they were camping or something, and there's one of the woman hosts or whatever was like passed around like a bicycle. It was described to me, and this reminds me of like Eyes Wide Shut orgies and things like that. This is what's going on behind the scenes of Flat Earth and all these movements. They have these conventions are basically like an orgy when they get together for a convention.
Well, like I said, I was the store manager of the Birmingham convention, and all right, don't get me wrong, there was definitely some hanky-panky going on, but there was no fucking. I was certainly not invited to any orgy of any sort. Like, to be fair, I didn't have the time for it, but don't get me wrong, there's dead dodgy stuff going on the scenes. Like you sit around afterwards in the bar having your little talks and all, like battering these ideas back and forth. What you're going to do next? What we're going to do next? Can't talk about this. That's my secret. I'm going to be bringing out on, blah blah blah. And it's a messed up scene. And obviously, like I say, the whole
rock scene. They're like doing drugs and sex and weird shit. It's just like a rock.
Yeah, lots of a bit of cocaine, lots of weed, and alcohol going around for sure.
Yeah, people think it's about the truth. It's about them being famous and getting laid and doing drugs.
And other weird shit. And the more people go on about it, the fishier it gets. I mean, this year, didn't Owen Benjamin show up at the Flirth?
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on. What are people thinking? Why are they even questioning whether or not? Oh,
Well, the
Owen.
last one had Logan Paul. The last one had Logan Paul.
Exactly,
So
Logan Paul. All these douchebags. And Owen claims to be this. Oh, I'm an ex-Hollywood actor. You're an ex-freaking Z-list actor at best,
These
dude.
people are so pathetic for fame. They're so obsessed with fame. Like when you go to if you live in Los Angeles, everyone's like, "Oh, I was hanging out with Tom Cruise the other day." They're like constantly name dropping. That's this whole culture, and so it's like these people are like, "Oh, I was hanging out with Owen Benjamin," you know, even though he's like a fucking nobody in Hollywood. It doesn't matter. Like people are so obsessed with fame in Hollywood. It's like it got a magic spell over everybody.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point, Owen can tell people to freaking take a long walk off a short pier and they'll do it. There's people out there, because this ass clown can't get paid anymore via internet, that are stuffing envelopes with their hard-earned money and sending it to this idiot. And this guy doesn't think the earth is flat. He supposedly has an IQ of 147. Come on.
Barbie has a video about that on her channel. Everyone should check out Barbie's video about Owen Benjamin. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was really well done.
The guy he's a danger to, and the thing is, and what I realized a few years back, is, and I said, I don't like to say things behind people's back. I also started to realize that I have somewhat of a personal responsibility. When I'm on the internet, I'm making videos, and people are watching what I'm saying and taking my words to heart, trusting me. And I had a lot of people that trusted me. And this is what's happening with Owen and people like Owen and Patricia and Mark and all these people trust them, vulnerable people that then end up making piss poor lifelong decisions. A lot of these people are losing their families, homes. There's a couple that have gone to jail. I mean, they've got a few crackheads in there in the midst, and they don't even act like that's a problem. Let's all love and hug. Right. Send money to get this twat out of jail because he decided to smoke drugs.
Yeah, Morgal is obviously taking people's donations and using it for drugs, and that's not just a flat Earth thing. It's like all of these YouTube communities are full of these big name channels or people that abuse their audience. They lie to their audience and say, we're going to do this with your money. Once they get the money, they don't fucking do what they say they're going to do with the money.
No.
They're constantly scamming their audiences. This is everywhere on YouTube. People are just really trusting, I guess. And
they are very trusting. People are extremely trusting. And, I don't know. A lot of people don't like Tim Osmond. However, Tim Osmond has made the statement over and over and over and over again. And since I first had an encounter with Tim, that when you have all this kind of bullshit going on within a movement like Flat Earth, then you got this guy, Owen Benjamin, who calls himself a truther, that has hundreds of thousands of people following him. Then it kind of takes the attention off the actual issues and the actual things that need to be brought out, the actual lies. I mean, if you find out the earth is flat tomorrow, it won't change your life. It just won't.
But Barbie, it's the biggest conspiracy. It's the biggest thing. It will show everyone that everything is a lie. Honestly, it's the key to it all. It's the sorry. No.
They're like 3,000 people died during 9/11. And if you put all these retards in a room with Owen Benjamin, and instead of looking at things that actually matter, then that's a danger to the freaking internet and to vulnerable people who freaking open up envelopes, stuff it with money, and send it to clowns like that because he's got goats and llamas and a cute wife and he can drink the hell out of White Claws. Who cares? I mean, I don't know. I'm just over it. I'm over like these people coming on and acting like complete POS and knowing, and then calling out other people. And there are issues in this world that need attention. There's certainly
the whole Epstein thing at the moment. Like, I mean,
I found out about
that's a big thing that needs attention.
Have you guys heard of the Panama Papers? Isn't that crazy? I've never heard of the Panama Papers till yesterday.
No.
I was watching a podcast that was about a TV show of all things, right? And I learned about the Panama Papers. And the Panama Papers are like 12 million leaked documents that detail financial and attorney-client information for more than 214,000 offshore entities. It's basically like the elite, rich, super wealthy people conspiring to break the law and abuse, oppress poor people, basically, to paraphrase what's going on. And these are leaked official documents, and you never hear anything about it, right? And I'm like, how am I on these YouTube channels that are about like exposing the truth, the elite, and all this stuff, and I've never even heard anyone talk about the fucking Panama Papers, right? But I've heard all about the flat Earth, and this came out 3 years ago, and this is like official shit leaked that you could use. And another thing about these Panama Papers, the mainstream media isn't saying shit about it either. You see these like alternative media people, if the mainstream media is not talking about it, the alternative media people aren't talking about it either. They just repeat the same shit the alternative media says, and they put their alternative media spin on it. You look at this Panama Papers things. I'm watching alternative media a lot on YouTube, and I've never heard anyone talk about this shit. So it just goes to show you, because the mainstream is, no one's doing anything about it. They're just shows.
Could it be that? Sorry, Pete. Could it be that people are doing things about it? People are trying to do it, but YouTube's algorithms are preventing those videos to get out, or those videos are being shut down immediately?
I'm saying, like, these documents show like these corporations are fraud, tax evasion, and evading international sanctions. So they're breaking the law, but no one's prosecuting them. No one is doing anything about it. That's what I mean. Like, we have the evidence, we could go after them, but no one is doing it. And
yeah, it's sick. I mean, we have the evidence against Prince Andrew going off Epstein.
Right, because some people
about him, but he's just been taken off public.
Because some people are untouchable, right? Like, if you're really a part of the elite, they're not going to name you in the mainstream news. Like Epstein. The only reason they're naming Epstein is because he's like a fall guy or whatever, right? They don't.
Yeah.
So like, that's something people need to consider.
Yeah, he's like the Jimmy Savile now. Like, he's the one that's going to take focus away from everyone else, or they're trying their best to make it that way.
It could be like,
it'll be up to people like us to keep reminding people that it was more than Epstein. It was.
It could be a way of like how they punish people. Like, he could have done something in the underground world, like within the cult, done something to offend them, and then to punish people, they do stuff like that. They publicly shame them or whatever. They expose them.
And with Epstein being the fall guy, I mean, you look at the amount of bits of documentation put in the Clintons on the island. Nothing's come about them. There's images. Again, these are just images. Have they been doctored? Have they been altered in any way? But there's images of him with Trump as well. You know, what does that mean? Does that just mean that there was a business deal going on?
It's not even like the Clintons' first scandal. Like, they got in trouble with Whitewater.
No, it's not.
The Clintons have been like probably assassinated. There's a thing called the Clinton body count. All the people the Clintons assassinated.
Yeah, it's like you did not want to be close to the Clintons at what point in their life. Yeah, literally everyone around them just died.
So VB's just put Epstein is a CGI deepfake cartoon and literally never existed.
Well,
Never know.
Yeah, see, unfortunately, that kind of statement kind of, for me, takes it too far, if you know what I mean. That's the kind of reactionary statement that muddies the waters, because it doesn't matter where, like, even if that was true, like, the point is there is a big international elite sex ring going on,
and even if he is a deep fake, it's exposing other people. Yeah, it's exposing other people who aren't deep fake, like the Clintons, like Prince Andrew, who. So if he's not real, these guys have been brought to the attention of what's actually happening, whilst nothing has happened about it. The public know, and the public across. And what were you going to say? Sorry, Mick.
Well, I think it's like the elite use money, don't they? So what happens is it's like the O.J. Simpson case. They get lawyers, and all the top lawyers can just ask their own price. So it always boils down to money. Can we pursue this because it costs so much? And they just price it out. It's like a game of cards. You can't go any further. You've got nothing left to bet. It's that sort of thing that gets them off with it every time.
VB's just put there is zero motion picture footage of Epstein. I've seen a video of Epstein. So
VB's just joking. You shouldn't really take him seriously.
No, but he's mentioned this before when we were talking about deep fake the other week.
Oh yeah, they could do it. Put it that, yeah, it's possible they could do it. That's why I said even if it is true, like, no, because it is very, very possible with today's technology.
Because about 5 minutes after he was talking about deepfake and videos of deepfake, he also then went on to say that there was no video footage of Epstein. And I was like, well, there is, but we don't know if it's deepfake. But again, even if it is deepfake, even if it is CGI pictures of him, it's shedding light on the people other people that are involved, you know? So, yeah.
And I mean, if you listen to Sean Atwood is where I get most of my information from the Epstein case. Like, and to be fair, I'm smelling a fish with him. To be fair, but he seems to be pointing more at Ghislaine Maxwell as the actual figurehead behind this, all the intelligence, or the more of the intelligence side of it, and obviously with the links from her father to Mossad and stuff as well, I can kind of go along with that kind of thinking. So
the thing that I think is terrifying about the Epstein thing is that there's a meme going around where it's like a joke to say like Epstein killed himself or whatever. Like everyone basically knows he was assassinated. So the general public is fully aware that this guy was assassinated, and they're apathetic towards it, which means we now have basically given the government the okay to assassinate people, and people have accepted it. See what I'm saying?
That is also actually a good point.
They're not like
rioting.
Yeah, no one's really rioting or revolting or really giving a fuck. They're joking and laughing.
But do people not understand? But are people not saying that they understand why he's been assassinated? And by keeping it in, because I see these memes all the time that that Epstein didn't kill himself. So are these people not just chain of thoughts fading me? I'm getting tired. Are people not trying to keep that in the public eye by saying this, that it is wrong that he was assassinated, to cover things up? Because that's the way I personally see it.
It's like a joke. They're like laughing about it. It's like they know he got assassinated and they think it's funny, rather than being like,
I don't see it that way.
Oh man, the government can just assassinate people. That's like,
but we know
freak out about that, not just laugh about it.
But we know the government assassinates people. Look at the bloke who tried to whistleblow on 9/11, and he ended up decapitated along with his dog, and his book was laid out on top of his body. You know?
We know that, but like the general public never really thought the government was assassinating people until like Epstein made it super obvious. I see your point. To where like everyone can see it now.
I do see your point, but I think I read it in a different context. I don't see it as people making fun of the government being able to do this. I see it as people being like, Epstein didn't kill himself, wake the fuck up. That's the way I see it. But again, we've already established in this podcast that I am naive.
Yeah, well, see, I'm kind of seeing P's point. I mean, why aren't people more outraged that the government have assassinated someone, whether it's someone we all hate on as committed grievous crimes or not? Like, I mean, this is an outrage, right? And yeah, why hasn't I've certainly never really thought about that, because I'm laughing along, thinking he got what he deserved anyway. But
well, it's been years in the making of preparatory fucking media coverage and desensitizing people and taking away their morals and their shock value. Oh, this guy just got his head blown off. Oh, wow. So let me go cook supper, because we have no reactionary feelings anymore. We're not freaking shocked and appalled when shit happens. And that has been going on since, I have to say that at least the mid 90s with the media, working people and showing so much horrible, at many times fake news, and showing all this stuff, what goes on in war, and oh, this has happened, that has happened, but no one saved a puppy. And so before it's over with, they're not shocked anymore. They don't have the ability to react properly to certain stuff.
I mean, are we being decommissioned? This is it. I mean, we're weapons. We are weapons. Are we being decommissioned with this? Like, are we taking away our trigger? Like, I mean,
I think Barbie nailed it about it's desensitizing people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Madam just put, I don't believe he's dead. You're pushing the story that he's dead.
It doesn't matter if he's dead or he's not dead.
What matters
is there's the same shit happening.
The point is like the effect of the story on people. That's the point. It doesn't matter the reality of whether he's dead or not. I look at it like, okay, this is a news story. It's propaganda. It's a psychological warfare. Like, what's their aim at? Like, you do this with like Barbie mentioned the 90s. In the 90s, the media was exposing Bill Clinton for his scandal with Monica Lewinsky and the cigar and the blowjob and all that. And you got to think about, in the 60s, right, 30 years prior, JFK, like the media knew he was banging Marilyn Monroe, but the media never ran stories on it because it's a matter of national security. So when you see the media ignoring national security and exposing the president, like Monica Lewinsky and the cigar thing, that's an intentional psychological warfare to bring down America and attack like how the sanctity of the president. It's an attack on America. So they're using America's media to destroy America and weaken our own country.
Madame replied with, "Of course it does matter." In terms of him being dead or not.
Well, it matters in the grander scheme of things, but in the context of what we were talking about, it doesn't matter, because the point is we were talking about the reaction of people to him being assassinated, and not the fact that whether he was assassinated or not. That's all.
And I mean, like P. Mars was saying, and that's why I kind of mentioned the 90s. When you have the media talking about your commander-in-chief like an utter sack of shit, it's pretty shocking. So what does that message send to the American people who believe in that commander-in-chief? And that, to me, that was like a pivotal point in this. Let me take away your senses. Nothing is shocking anymore. Obama doesn't have a birth certificate. Fuck it. Let him be president. Whatever. Because we have desensitized you. We have shown you to your core with your commander-in-chief, with 9/11. We're showing you graphic footage of wars while we lie off our asses as why it happened. So they could get away with anything now.
Yeah,
could
and they
shoot a
also
guy.
know how to convey that point. They also know how to say it in a certain way that's not going to cause an outrage. That's going to make people think, oh, okay, that's everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And that's what false flags are. A lot of
It's
the
about to mention them.
yeah, false flags. That's a lot of the intention of them. You know, you're achieving a goal, whether that goal be about money, etc., and doing something underhanded.
Yeah.
A hoax is completely different. With a hoax, you just want to achieve a goal, but nothing about that is true. So we've been fed a whole lot of that on the news as well, you know, and now people can't. They either can't disseminate truth, or they simply don't care, or they are positively addicted to news. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. And it doesn't matter which three of those things you are, it becomes this weird bubble over you. Yeah, America is in deep trouble. We're in
Well,
bad
have you heard
shape.
of our most recent false flag last week with the 2 people that were killed by a terrorist so that we would just hand over our human rights? Because everybody's in outrage. Everybody over here that I'm seeing, people are like, why are we letting these terrorists live? Why aren't the terrorists being locked up forever? And we were talking about it last week. It was a week and a half ago, actually.
The stabbing on London Bridge? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Did I say shot?
No. You just said
No.
2 people.
No, you
lost
just
their
didn't
lives.
mention the actual Pacific event. That's all. Yeah.
Specific. Yeah. The 2 people that were stabbed on London Bridge last week. Sorry. This week's just like mushed into one, and everybody that I have seen on my timeline and on my friends list on Facebook have all been, why aren't these people being locked up forever? Why aren't these people being deported? Why aren't these people being killed? And the answer is because we don't have the power to do that. We have our human rights. So it would violate human rights to keep people locked up 24 hours, segregated in a cell by themselves. That's not allowed to happen. But if we let these if we believe that these terrorist attacks are happening, then we're going to be like, no, do it, take our human rights. But then, oh shit, you've stolen a crayon from a supermarket by mistake because you're 80 and you're losing your marbles, and oh shit, now you're locked up forever because capital punishment and nonsense. I don't know if this is making sense. I'm very tired.
I kind of see what you're saying. However, that's what separates the reality from bullshit. If you actually go to your next door neighbor's house and shoot him in the fucking head, you're going to prison because that's reality. Mm-hmm. That's not some people on the news bringing you these stories. And these are the very people, your government and stuff, who have imported all these terrorists into all these countries. It started here in the 80s with all these people coming from Cuba on the boats. And then 10 years later, they're crying, oh, the crime rate is unbearable. What are we going to do? Really? So, I mean, that was maybe a preparatory measure to a much larger, grander thing, which is what is going on now, where every country you go to, they're being forced to take people from other places who they call animals. Oh, we don't want to mess with these animals. They did 9/11. Well, why are you bringing these animals into these countries? I mean, there's no reality in those stories and those things. What there is a reaction from you and an emotion and that's put into your brain and that's kept there for a really long time. I mean, I can imagine that 20 years from now, we are gonna like look back at tonight and go, holy shit, man. That's how much things are gonna change with what they're doing to countries and how they're breaking countries apart and how they're forcing countries to be something that they're not or to deal with things they shouldn't. And maybe these people are committing crimes, maybe they're not, but just in case they're not, let's make up some crimes and let's get some dorky guy in a hat to stand there and say, I tackled him. So at the same time, you're making a little bit of a hero, and people love that stuff. They love that drama, but they don't want to understand how it happened, why it's happening.
When does a stabbing become a terrorist attack? That's like saying a punch in the face is a terrorist attack.
When ISIS claim responsibility.
A brown person did it.
Because a brown person did it, and ISIS claimed responsibility.
Yeah, but have you ever heard that before? Somebody getting stabbed and it was a terrorist attack.
I think so, yeah.
Not until the past couple of years.
Because that means anybody who's done a stabbing would be a terrorist as well, wouldn't it?
Well, apparently, if they shout certain words running at people with a knife, and it's to result in martyrdom or a known terrorist.
The guy was if they can fit into the agenda, it will get fitted into the agenda.
The guy was a part of an extremist group that got busted, and he had to go do probation for plotting a terrorist attack before this happened. So
the message it's sending out is we can't let them off.
Yeah, it's probably, I think the reason they want this crazy shit like mass shootings and these random stabbings, it's going to create like a precedent or a demand. People are going to want mandatory mental health evaluations, and then based on your mental health evaluation, it's like a pre-crime thing. It's going to lead to pre-crime. Where you're going to get in trouble, you're going to be considered a school shooter just because you're in your room playing video games by yourself and you don't have much of a social life. So we're going to have to already protect against, we're going to just have to treat you like you're a loner school shooter. So that's where they're going with that. They're going to force people basically to socialize. They don't like these non-social people like me. Because if you read like Bertrand Russell, he says like that. Where is it? I could get the quote actually.
You can put it up on screen if you want a screenshot.
He says all the boys and girls are learned from an early age to be what is called cooperative, i.e., do exactly what everyone else is doing. Initiative will be discouraged, but so like basically they kind of indoctrinate us through us socializing with other people. Like that's how the indoctrination works. So they want us to be social. They don't want us to be like loner individuals. They want us to be mass-minded,
living with your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Because when you socialize with other people, you see all the difference in people's opinions. That then creates divides between people, and like between the left and the right, and all of the kind of men and women, all the different segregations that you can get. So it gets us fighting with each other instead of fighting with the man.
Because monkeys see, monkey do. You imitate what other people do around you. So you lose like your individuality and your uniqueness.
Yeah. Speaking of that, last night when Laurie was here, I found myself sitting in the same position as Laurie quite often, and I kept having to move myself because I've just done the same with Mick because I'm describing what I was doing, but I found myself constantly in the same position as Laurie, like over here, and like it looked like we were the same person but older, and it just. I went quiet for quite a while because I was listening to what you guys were saying, but also in the back of my head, I was just constantly thinking, fuck your programming, because like you see somebody's body language and you emulate that because it's just the way that we've been taught to be, is to copy one another so that we're all bare, and
it's just human nature, I think.
Yeah.
Is it human nature, or is it because we're taught to? In school, we're taught to all sit on the carpet with your legs crossed and your hands on your lap, so your teacher doesn't stand on your feet, and you're all taught to sit exactly the same.
We evolved as tribe. We're tribal. So that's also why we like form into groups and then hate another group. It doesn't have to be based on skin color. That's why the whole racism thing is kind of bullshit, because we're just naturally tribal. We don't have to. It doesn't have to be a skin color difference. We can pick whatever, you know, like just based on the shape of the earth, we can hate other people or whatever.
Yeah.
So
team you like. Yeah.
Fuck. What was I saying? I was gonna say so they want to train us all to be social. Because then we'll be more group thinking, group minded, and it's easier to control mass minded people than a bunch of individuals. So like that, they're going to force us to be socialized, I think, in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But isn't it a case of the weaker minded, because there's so many of them, and now it's our nature to follow everybody else around you. That's how the group's controlled easier than the individual.
Yep. And Carl Jung talks about like you'd think people would notice like how many times in history that a single madman becomes a leader of a group, and the group does all this crazy shit, you know, like Nazi Germany or whatever. Or there's many examples like the Spanish Inquisition, or there's tons of examples in history, but no one ever fucking learns from history, and they keep falling for that shit, and they keep joining up in groups and communities, and so.
Yeah, they never see the madman coming, do they, P?
No.
It's always afterthought. Oh shit! Look at this crazy nut job.
A footnote.
Well, this is why I encourage people to read the Dune series. I know it's a science fiction book and stuff, but the whole metaphor behind it is don't follow charismatic leaders just because they're charismatic leaders. And
sorry, but to me that kind of loops back to a little thing that Barbie said earlier when she was talking about her audience trusting her. We, me and Dee have often said, don't just trust what we say. We've tried to instill that into people, because I could be chatting most of the time I'm chatting absolute bollocks. I'm chatting what comes into my head and when it comes into my head, because that's how I am. And I don't want people to just be like, yes, that is exactly right. Yes, I agree with you. Or no, I don't agree with you. I want people to go away and formulate their own opinion. Like when we were talking with John LeBon a few weeks ago, and he was talking about the dinosaurs. And I said to Jed, honestly, I do not know enough about this for me to just follow what he's telling me. I need to go and look this up for myself. And this whole blindly trusting people's opinions, because they're not facts. Whatever we're saying is not facts. On the most part, you know, people blindly trusting people for no fucking reason other than because they've got a pretty face, or they've got a cool beard, or they've got those boobs, you know. Don't just trust what we say. Go and fucking learn for yourself. That's how people should work, not following this hive mentality of, oh, they're on the internet, they must know what they're talking about. No. You know?
It's absolutely crazy. And sometimes it's like you want to take people and shake them, and maybe
100%.
And I've heard many people say they blame folks for being that way. However, again, that goes back to a lot of this media stuff and all the crap that people are fed. And you would think that if they were being rational when they first started getting like programmed, and they saw things for what they were, they'd be like, this is the most untrusting shit ever. And they have the reverse effect. It's like you've got these zombies walking around waiting for the zombie apocalypse that they're freaking, getting ready to hand you. I sometimes I don't know how it happens. I don't.
If you raised a child in like a really small little commune and then push them out into our world, like, can you imagine what their reaction would be as like a 20-something-year-old like adult knowing working mind, and you raise them in this little area, and they'd be like, what the fuck are all these people doing, you know?
Yeah, possibly. I think children.
I was raised in the society, and I feel like, what the fuck are all these people doing?
Yeah. But we are the small few, unfortunately.
Do you think
I
they're
think that might be another thing that's used against, because there's like a recipe for all ages, and children are really adaptable. When you think, I mean, yes, they get hurt. Yes, you want to protect them. However, children are rugged. They're tough. They can adapt. They're fickle if they have their basic needs. And I'm talking survival. I'm not talking as a family unit feeling like a loved child. I'm talking about survival.
I read a story of a young woman that was like hiking with her family in the jungle and got lost for years. She basically, God, I can't remember how old she was, like maybe 9 or 10 or something. So she grows up in the jungle, and then when she's an adult, like 20, her family find her, and her family bring her back home, right? Well, she keeps trying to freaking run away because, like, she can't handle living in her village because she's just used to living in the freaking jungle. And one day she actually got away from her family, and they never saw her again. So she actually chose the jungle over the village.
I'd choose the fucking jungle over the village.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Right?
I wanted to ask you something, then I gotta go, actually.
Yeah, that's cool because we're going to be shutting down
We
soon
wrap
anyway.
up after 2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
Do you find it strange that, like you were talking about that false flag and the one guy, and that's terrorism, and Mick said he never heard of terrorism with a knife. However, I'm finding it a little strange that now terrorism can be linked to one guy. I mean, usually it's it's a group of people, or I think they're trying to place that word on many. I don't know. I can't explain myself. I know what I'm thinking. It's like the lone gunman is now the terrorist, and
Well, yeah, and I think that is an attack on especially in America or anywhere that still has guns. It's an attack on these people that have guns. I think it's another way of them being able to use this as an excuse to clamp down on gun laws and stuff.
And we've all got all this knife crime going on right now, where there's so much knife crime happening, and I think it's another push for the anti-knives, because that is the way the British people are allowed to arm themselves. Well,
no, we're not allowed, we're not, right?
You know what I mean.
In the UK, it is literally it's illegal to have any weapon in your possession or in your house that is there for defense. You are not allowed. It is illegal to defend yourself in the UK.
So you can't have a baseball bat by your front door.
No,
you can't have that, because that's if a policeman walks into your house and sees, well, they wouldn't, but you know what I mean. Like if a policeman walks into your house and sees a baseball bat by your door, they know what it's for. You know,
you can get arrested for having an offensive weapon.
Yeah, even if it's in your own
to use it. Yeah.
All you have to do is put a ball in a glove there. That's fine.
Yeah. So I could have a steak knife by my front door as long as I have a steak there as well. Is that what you're saying?
Just carry your chocolate.
It's like that in Norway too. And you can have knives in your home, but you cannot carry a knife in public. Not even a wee pocket knife. It's like, really? Because I always carry a knife. I'm just that way. Even if it's just a small one. But you can't do that.
See, here in the UK, you can carry weapons on you, but they're not allowed to be classed as weapons.
Yeah, so you can have a fishing knife on you if you go fishing.
As far out of reach as possible. So, like, if you need, like, even a screwdriver, if you're working as a builder or a carpenter and you don't put your screwdriver away in your toolbox at the end of the day and you leave it on your belt and you drive home, you get pulled over by the police, you can get done for having an offensive weapon on you because it's classed as an offensive weapon. So it is very much how you're dealing with the weapon. It's like I could carry a sword around as long as it was wrapped up and locked up in a case, and I didn't say it was for self-defense or something. Like I'd have to say I'm going out to practice with it, or so. Like I'd need a reasonable excuse to have it in public.
Yeah,
it isn't anything to do with defense.
When I used to live with my dad and we used to go fishing, I could have my fishing knife with me so long as it was in my tackle box. If it was in my back pocket, which is where I would need my fishing knife and not in a tackle box, I'd be in trouble.
Well, I'm pretty sure in Norway they can actually, like, they have fishing knives and stuff like that. So maybe it's quite a bit the same. But, I mean, it's not like someone's going to admit, oh, yeah, dude, I'm carrying this knife. It's a weapon. So if I say it's a weapon, then I've weaponized it. That's what they're saying. If I use it for fish, that's not a weapon.
No, it's a tool. Yeah.
This is the kind of bullshit that we've been given. I mean, who's gonna? A knife can be for picking your nails.
Well, everyone's guilty. The law is written in a way where everyone's guilty. It's like subjective.
Yeah.
100%.
I'll tell you what was strange the other night when you used to talk, you and Laurie, talking about your guns, saying I couldn't be without me guns, and what would happen if somebody came to my house? Well, the likelihood of them carrying a gun would be high, wouldn't it? Like over here, it wouldn't be, so we don't think we need a gun because there's nobody else carrying them.
What? There's some weird laws here in some states. I don't know how things have changed, but it used to be like, okay, if a guy broke in my house tonight, yeah, I get out of my bed, I shoot him and kill him. As long as he dies in my house, I'm okay. So my brother used to always say, look, if that ever happens to you and he starts climbing out the window, pull his ass back in. But things are changing now. Now it's like, yeah, no, you can't defend yourself against a burglar. It doesn't much matter if he enters my house with a gun. He can enter my house with a baseball bat and do Ted Bundy damage. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
In America, he could break into your house, he could cut himself on the glass and then sue you.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. But no, it was me and Laurie that were talking about guns because I said I couldn't. And as people in the chat were like, there are guns in England, obviously. And then Dave messaged me as well. He's like, there are guns in England. I know there's guns in England. There are not legal. No, there.
Yeah,
so there are legal. There are legal guns in England, but they are hunting. They are hunting guns, and there's much more regulations for them. So, for example, I couldn't go and get a gun because I'm not with a hunting club and I'm not with all of this. So, you know.
Yeah, you need
that's what I meant.
You need somebody who already owns a gun to sponsor you, so you can get a license for a gun. I think is
yeah,
and how it works.
There are like people.
Is it likely someone like a burglar would have a gun?
That was my point. Was that the chance of somebody breaking into my house with a gun? Because for that kind of person to get a gun, they're fucking expensive. So it's very difficult to get your hands on a gun. So somebody breaking into my house, probably the chance of them having a gun on them is very fucking slim. They're more likely to have a knife.
Yeah, that makes sense. Here, people get guns all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's nothing to see the shootings and I mean, and a lot of people think, oh, that stuff is fake. Not all of it is fake. People shoot each other every day. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
See you later. And that in the United States, they would love to control the guns. However, I don't think it's going to happen for a very long time.
It wouldn't work in America because the people who
weed laws in because they want everyone on weed now. Well, that's why they brought the weed laws in, so they can take everyone who smokes weed's guns away from them, basically, eventually, because there'll be laws brokered in that if you're smoking marijuana, you're not allowed to own a gun and stuff. It's already happened in a couple of states, I think. So.
Yeah, but I mean, they're gonna try. However, when the United States is like, hundreds of countries in one place. And when you come to the South, look out, man. These rednecks are not going to give up their guns. It's not going to happen. It's not fucking going to happen. And they know this. So, I mean, that the Sandy Hook crap worked a little bit on the Yanks. I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
And the only people who are going to give up their guns are the people who wouldn't go out and shoot somebody. They're the people who aren't involved in gang violence, and they're people who genuinely would need to defend themselves, as opposed to the actual people who, like, a good person who has no bad intentions with their guns is gonna give up their guns, but a bad person isn't.
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't intend on shooting anyone, but you're not getting my gun. And if you come up in this place, I'm gonna shoot you. If you come up here with ill intent, and chances are you could do a hell of a lot of damage in like 5 minutes, you're getting shot. I'm a good person, and my intention is not to kill people, but I'm not giving up my gun. I have the right to bear arms.
Yeah, you do. And your right to bear arms isn't to hurt your fellow man. It's for when the government fucks up.
Exactly.
You know, that was the initial fucking reason. We didn't have that. So it's totally different with us. Like, no guns works, I think, works in our country. But it just would not work in America. You've always had your guns. Why should they be taken away from the good citizens like yourself?
I mean, I'm not saying I have a gun. I'm just saying that's the way I feel about it. And they know.
Do you know that amendment where you have the right to bear arms? It was given in the 17th century. In them times.
Yeah.
So do you think because you have the right to defend yourself in the 17th century, because I'm worried to ask you where this is going, and I think I know where it's going, and I know someone like that. You think that now the Constitution should be tweaked? It needs to be fixed, repaired, because we're not in the 17th century anymore? Or am I like...
It should be amended. It should be amended so that you can now own aircraft carriers and F-1 jets and Titan missiles, and that's what
just
should be amended to now. So that you guys can own all of that.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, though? The right to bear arms. Arms is not only guns. I mean, I got two.
It's a means of defense.
It's a means of defense.
Yeah.
So if you can take away guns per se, then you're taking away people's will to defend themselves at any cost.
So if you want to talk about the founding fathers and the Constitution and all that, they gave us the Second Amendment to protect us from tyranny and protect us from our own government. And the founding fathers warned us that if we lost the Second Amendment, then tyranny would take over. But aside from that, they gave us the Second Amendment because they didn't want America to have a standing army. They warned us against that, which would have been a good idea to listen to because that's part of the tyranny, really. And they wanted Americans just to be armed and, like if we needed to go to a war, we are all fucking armed and we'll go to war, not have a standing army. So the founding fathers of America were wise, and unfortunately we do, I think, need to adapt the Constitution and apply it to the fucking internet because our liberty is important and we're losing that shit.
Yeah. The thing
I think that's actually a good note to end on, to be fair, but sorry, go on.
No,
carry on, Barbie. I don't want to.
I'd like to talk to P. Mars about that later, though, at some point. I mean, because there's this weird...
That's up to you to say yes or no, P.
I mean, there's a weird thing that happens when you allow your government to change a government document. And then they're like, fuck, let me go in and just tweak this and this and this and this.
I just think with technology, things are changing, so we need to update laws to apply them to technology because like the internet wasn't around in the 1700s, so the founding
No.
fathers, you know.
But we need better men to do it, P. Mars, than what we've got. We need better men. We
Do-
need
do you know when
Willie
you say-
Nelson for president or something. I don't know. It's like,
You what,
Do you
me?
know when you say? Do you know when you say you have your right to bear arms? Now, what about the right for the person not to be surrounded by people who can kill them with just a movement of a finger? To have that power, to be not surrounded by people like that, is that a right? Do you think by the natural law?
I think people have that ability with or without that right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but it's like a child could kill you. Somebody
But there's a difference between having the right to defend yourself and having the right to go out and kill somebody. I don't think that the amendment is there to give Barbie the right to go and brutally murder somebody because she can. I think the amendment is there to protect her and to enable her to defend herself. I don't think it's a case of they've got a gun, so they're going to attack me. That to me is
that's
scared.
what, and it's like,
how many things?
your question is like valid, and I think they try to use that shit a whole lot, particularly after Sandy Hook. You know, do people have a right not to be surrounded by gun owners? Well, look, if 25 of my neighbors own guns, how are you going to know you're surrounded by 25 people that own guns? Do you think that they're all coming out in the streets going, woo, looky here, you're surrounded by
Sharamo costs a lot.
So it's like this weird argument that's used to take away a right. Most people are responsible enough. They respect a firearm enough to know it does damage. Damn. I don't know, man.
There's a reverse psychology going on, like as if your right's getting away from you, so therefore you're armed, and that gives them the right to walk about with firearms. If none of you did, they couldn't in the same way, not in the same numbers.
I don't think you have the right to tell someone else, what they can do, right? If someone else wants to bring a gun, they should have that right. But then you also have the right to move yourself and not be around them if you want to. You don't have to be around people with guns.
If they don't, you would actually have the right to be able to tell somebody that tool. Like you think of a concealed weapon, a firearm. What is it used for? It's not used for killing animals, is it?
But in Laurie's house, it is.
I mean, it's no different from cigarettes. You have the right to smoke cigarettes. So do I. I know heaps of people who don't want to smell that shit. So they have the right to remove themselves from that situation.
A firearm can diffuse the situation. There are times where, like, say there's like a road rage. I've seen a video where there was a road rage and a guy gets out of his car like he's going to throw his fists at the other guy. The other guy brandishes a firearm and the guy doesn't end up punching him, So just by brandishing the firearm, he avoided a fist fight. If he didn't have that firearm, there's a fist fight, someone gets hit wrong, and then they hit their head and they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like...
I think we should go back to swords, personally.
I don't want to live in a safe world where a bubble, I'm protected in a fucking bubble, and the government, surrounds me with bubble wrap or whatever the fuck. Like, life is dangerous, shit happens. Fucking get over it. Like, there's no avoiding it.
Yeah,
just deal with it when it happens.
If you go down to the negatives and the positives, if you have a gun, the chances of somebody else getting hurt seriously is quite high. If it comes to a fight, you might get punched in the nose. It might end up in pain, but it usually wouldn't end up in the same.
But those statistics are bullshit. The scenario I just outlined where that guy avoided a fist fight, there's never going to be a statistic for that. So these statistics are meaningless. I don't give a fuck about statistics, honestly.
Well, you must to survive.
No. I think statistics are bullshit. It's a way to control people's thoughts by going, oh, I'm going to cite the statistic, so now you must agree that this is a fact. and therefore truth. We worship statistics and we worship facts here in the secular world now, where God doesn't exist, and yeah, we're just molecules. Our brains are just chemistry. We're just chemicals. We don't have a soul. That's silly.
And
I
what
just
people
believe in
are,
statistics and facts in the physical world, and I don't believe in anything else because I'm totally blind to half of the reality I'm in.
I mean,
Go ahead, Bobby.
Well, don't you-
I like what P said, because I think, when you wonder about statistics and where they're actually gathering all these statistics, well, nobody's knocked on my door. Who are the pool of people? And dude, there's been guns in America for a very fucking long time. And it's not like we're jumping out in the streets blowing each other's heads off.
Well, they can lie about news and 9/11, but they can't make up statistics. That's beyond their abilities.
I think
I wasn't actually using statistics. I was using probability.
yeah, but how can you predict probability?
I don't know.
Within
I'm giving you a hard time.
You can. You can.
No, you can't. People
You
are
can't on one scale, but on another scale you can. You can't predict the absolute event, but you can, over a bigger amount, you can see a pattern.
For me, the most alarming.
If I flick it only 10 times, it can be either thing, so there's no probability there. But do it enough times, the probability comes.
I mean, what's the probability that the American military will use their guns? 100%. What's the probability that someone like me could hold a gun in my hand to another human being and actually pull the trigger? You would have to be taking my life at that moment. Now that's fair. That's a fair
Well, I'll
statement.
tell you what,
But to say someone punched me in the nose and I'm going to pull out my gun, no, I'm going to hit you back. I mean, and people are amazing
like
in that way. People are so amazing, they don't even realize it. They've let it all go. They're letting everybody else assess their behavior. When in the moment, people do extraordinary things within seconds. So it's not fair to say probability says someone will pull out that gun and use it.
And can I add on to something that Paige just said a minute ago about the diffusing of the situations? The amount of you hear a lot of the anti-gun bullshit around school shootings. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's illegal to carry a gun at school. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the mass shootings are done where people aren't allowed to have guns. That's
so
ironic.
If somebody in that mass school shootings that have happened had a gun, would that situation have then been diffused? The problem there was that somebody had a gun in a place where a gun is not allowed, and other law-abiding citizens did not have their gun because they know it shouldn't be at school. I'm here to learn, not shoot some deer, or I'm in a place where I should be safe. But if those people had a gun, would that situation have been diffused? P, I know you want to answer that question. You're unflicking. Go on, P.
Well, Mick should be allowed to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would be, yes. Because you have to deal with to the same measure, don't you? At least.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing I see, the difference between our country and yours. We've got a thing called the dole, haven't we? Where it's a safety net and people can live without ever working, really. Do you see what I mean? It's like we don't have the same problems when user. So when it comes down to the people who follow orders, user more likely probability you're going to do worse things because there's no fucking escape plan. You'll go along with it more than what we would, because we can say no to it because we're still going to survive all right.
There's a really sad story of a woman. This woman, she was eating in a restaurant with her parents, and they had just passed a law in the state she was living in where you couldn't bring your gun into the restaurant. You had to leave it in your car. So her gun was in her car. She's in this restaurant, and some crazy guy comes in and starts shooting people. And she was lucky she escaped, but her parents got killed. And she says, you know, I might not have been able to save my parents or help the situation, but I would have damn sure liked a chance, you know?
Yeah. And I think that is an important statement, and loops me back to the whole bad people not giving up their guns. And the vast majority of the population, I feel like they would give up their guns because I'm basing that on the fact that, Bobby, I don't think that if you were at school, I don't think you'd take your gun into school because you'd know it wouldn't be allowed. And that's why I make that basis of good people are going to follow the law, whereas bad people aren't. So if you can't bear arms, can you defend yourself? And I think the answer is no.
It takes a long time for the police to show up too.
Well, yeah, it does here too, mate. It
Well,
does
it's not
here
that.
too.
See, I think Mick's going a deeper level than that, and he's saying, "What if guns weren't a thing at all?" Basically, is that what you're trying to say, Mick? Like, yeah.
So, nobody had them. Would you feel any?
But we'd still find it. Like I say, the problem is.
This is all the fault of
perfectly
science
capable
and
of killing each other with our bare hands. I mean,
and that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, and we will find a way.
The threat is less because children and weaker people can't do the things that they could do.
Children kill other children all the time.
I actually think these
don't kill adults and groups of people.
These vehicles are a threat. The guy in Toronto who rented like the van and he just ran over heaps of people with his van. I think he killed.
It happens here, yeah.
14 people.
Yeah.
You could probably kill more people with the vehicle running them over than with the freaking gun. And I think they're eventually going to try and take away our ability to have private transportation. That's part of Agenda 21.
Self-drive cars, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mess. I mean, that's what I told my kids when they started driving. I said, you do realize you're driving a 1,000-pound weapon. Don't forget it. You know, anything can be used as a weapon. I mean, would a world without guns be great? Yeah, I think it would. However, I don't want to live in a world where my government is allowed to carry firearms and weapons and God knows what all they have. And I'm sitting here with nothing because they've proven time and time again what horrible, horrible, horrible individuals they are. And so if somebody comes knocking on my door, dragging me out of my house, I want to be able to do something about it. And then if there's other little instances in between, I mean, I don't even own a gun, to be honest. I don't. If I did, that's the way I'd feel about it. And if I want to go buy one tomorrow, I want to go buy one tomorrow.
And Barbie, that brings you all the way back to when you said we're being desensitized. The media has desensitized us to the killing of Epstein. Oh, that's okay. All right, take away our guns. My next door neighbor can be killed because she did so and so, or because she didn't do so and so. You know, we're just going to see it as this flippant non-event. You know,
and the people perpetrating all this stuff. I'll give them one thing. It's like brilliant how things seem to work out for them. You got to wonder how they do it. How do you do it? What's your secret? It's like that great cream. You know, what's your secret? Damn, tell me. I want to know.
Well, has it not been being pre-planned for hundreds of years?
I think so.
And to pee.
You know, I think everything is planned many, many, many years in advance. A lot of people like to say I'm crazy when it comes to that. However, I think there's been so much thought put into every step of the way. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm a nut, because that means the world is safe for a place.
If you think back in the day, those cathedrals they were planned 300 years before they were finished, so that people who started them weren't around. So things are planned 3 years ahead.
I don't know. You know, I just like to believe that most people are good. There are some bad people, yes. However, most people are good. I've taught my kids.
I'd put most people at not even giving a shit enough to be classed as good or bad. Just they're non-entities almost. I wouldn't go so far as call them like non-player characters, like seems to be creeping into the vocabulary nowadays. But certainly non-entities. That they almost don't matter in a way.
Like they're just part of the scenery. I don't know. I mean, I guess I just want to believe that most people are good. However, there are bad people out there. And I told my kids that forever. I didn't want to scare them to death, but I wanted them to be aware, you know, so they didn't jump in the car for a piece of candy or some dumb shit like that.
Of course, your responsibility as a mother, yeah. It's what all of us tell our kids, that there are bad people. I mean, my son has a code word. For when he's collected or for if he's in public. He has a word that somebody has to say for him to know that he's safe and to go with that person. And it scares the shit out of him. But it's one of those necessary things, I think, to make sure he is aware that this person might not be honest and trusting, because everybody he knows in his immediate life is honest and trusting and generally nice people. But there are those bad apples. All apples are bad. We don't like apples. Apples aren't good.
It just so happens that most of these bad apples are placed in positions that affect us directly every day.
Yeah.
Well, it's the bad apples that are going to strive for those positions, unfortunately. I mean, it really is. I mean, not being funny, good people, why would a good person want power over another person? I mean, it makes no sense.
No. No, it doesn't really. Well, I appreciate you letting me come on and say hey.
No, I appreciate you coming on. You've been a fine addition to this podcast. Yeah,
I loved our chat last night as well. I honestly just come with us all the time. Don't leave me.
I love your channel, and so I'll see us again soon, probably.
Yay, friends! Well, next Sunday.
Excellent.
Okay.
If you're not there, you'll make me cry.
Bye, Barbie. Thank you for coming on.
Bye. Bye, P.
Have a good day. Bye. Hello, everyone. Guns are accessible everywhere in the world. Yeah, I know.
You want to get off like day, are you?
Well, yeah, no, it was not so much want to get off. Like I say, I'm so tired from last night. I'm exhausted. So I'm lagging. I mean, I'm quite happy to carry on going, but don't expect too much from me.
I'm ready for bed. Hi, Stephen. Hello, everyone. But no, I'm happy to go to sleep, to be honest.
Yes, so no, we will. To be fair, 2.5 hours. I think that's a good one. I mean, we've had some real good convo tonight. I've got VB, polyamorous relationships, FE madness, Panama Papers, immigration, manipulation, and gun control. So, I mean, we've really gone through it. Yeah,
we've done good.
Well, I want to get off and not keep them.
All right then, Mick. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks for popping in.
Awesome for coming on, bud. And
PMA's about to disappear without saying goodbye, because I'm going to be upset if he does, because he did that last time. He just dropped, and I was like, oh, well then, bye, PMA's. Oh, he's in the chat still. Oh, he's back. Goodbye, P. Have a good time.
Yeah, no, P. Thank you again. You are always a valued addition.
Remember,
honestly, mate, I really value your opinions on a lot of things. Same. So join us again, please. But
missed validation boy today. Okay, thanks.
Fuck yourself, P. Maybe he could have come on if he wanted. The link was there. He was in the chat when the link was posted. Yeah.
Sorry, somebody's asking a question. I think I do apologise. Just give me a second. Whether Canadian, American, or British, if someone wants to kill people, they will get their hands on a gun. Where there's a will, there's a way. So why aren't mass shootings happening here in Canada? Yeah, Canadians are just more decent people by the looks of it, to be fair. No, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I think Canadians actually have more guns per head than people in America. Like, so Canadians per head own more guns. So
yeah, and it is there to make us think that they're the bad thing as opposed to the government's the bad thing.
People are bad things, like guns are tools. But yeah, anyway, thanks everyone for joining in. Cakes is pulling funny faces now, so let's
it's the end when I start pulling fully faces. That's not English. Parlez anglais. Well, thanks guys for popping in. Hope to see you next week. Be good, don't die, because we'll miss you. And thank you for all our guests. You're all beautiful. Why? Wait, this is a weird end to the show, D. This isn't normal behavior.
I'm tired. I told you. I'm sorry. I was like I said. I wish I was a bit more with it because I was really. I was in fact enjoying just listening to the conversation. I
muted my mic for about 20 minutes and I was just listening to P and Barbie, and I was just like, I'm loving this. I don't have to speak. I did a Jamie. Shade.
Yeah. No, thanks everyone for tuning in. We really are going to shoot off now. I know I've said that a few times now, but yeah, see you all next week, 9 p.m. Sunday.
Thank you guys. Goodbye.